Greetings, beautiful beings. Welcome to the greatest game that ever was, is, and ever will be. This is magnificent, and the winds of change are blowing today. Thank you for tuning into this video. In this video, I'm going to share a little about what I am doing personally and how you can benefit from doing something similar to me. As you can see, this video is titled An Overstimulated Species, or people, or whatever I decide to title it. And in essence, I made another video a little while ago. I think this one's going to be published first though on YouTube, available for you to see. So essentially what I'm personally doing to get things started off. Right now, this is my first day. I'm going to take about 2 weeks, maybe more, at least 2 weeks, where I am only going to use my phone for setting alarms and for practicing language, right? Duolingo, that's what I use. I am not going to use any other devices or whatever to try to get around it, right? The only thing I can use my phone for, or my computer for, right? Because I'm going to use my computer to work on the book that I'm writing, right? And also, for instance, to publish this YouTube video that I'm making right now on my first day. It is either September 30th, if there is a September 30th. Maybe there's a 31st. I don't know. But anyways, we are on the precipice. We are on the time where it is going to turn into October, right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking 2 weeks of solitude, 2 weeks of metamorphosis, right? I'm not going to talk to anybody other than people in real life, right? I'm going to focus on directing, right, and focusing my energy on the things that I'm working on, particularly my mental energy, right? I found that I generally do pretty well, right? Not using, or shall we say overusing. Of course, overusing, that's a term subjective, right, to everybody. What is overusing? But things like social media, watching things like YouTube and stuff. I don't really watch anything on TV. You know, back when I was in a relationship, I'd watch things on TV once in a while, right? Because that's, I guess, what people do in relationships. And what I'm saying here is I generally do fairly well, but I realized that I was still spending more time on social media, for instance, like Instagram or YouTube, watching things that are not beneficial for me, right, in the long term. And instead of doing that, instead of spending an extra hour or even 2 hours a day, you know, watching things on YouTube or whatever, I could spend that time focusing my energy in journaling, writing my book that I have had in the works for like a year, 2 years now, right? Doing things like this, making more YouTube videos, but most importantly, doing things like this. Coming out into nature and, you know, sitting on the ground and breathing in the beautiful winds of change, right? Now, anyways, why I'm sharing this with you, now let's get down into the details, the juicy part. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. If you made it to this point in the video, type in the comment section down below, 5:30, and I'll know you made it to the point to where things get juicy, right? I have found personally that we, people, humans, whatever you classify us, spend an enormous amount of time sitting there, not circulating our energy. In fact, focusing our energy on things external to us. External in a physical sense, because we're not focusing on circulating our chi, our energy, our blood flow, our lymph flow, energy flow. And then mentally, we are, as I said, externalizing our focus and our energy onto some things that other people are doing, and not our life, not that which is real, that which is fictitious, right? I have found that it said, on average, people who are like teenagers being brought up now spend an average around like at least 6 hours, you know, on social media or TV or whatever, at least a day. You know, some people are smaller, some people are better, and some people are even worse, you know, spending 16 hours a day on video games and stuff. And, you know, the other is school. You know, you go in and you get told what to do all day, and you still can't do anything with your energy. You know, you're forfeiting the time and energy you do have, and the rest of your time you get told what you can and can't do. And I know that sounds insane, right? But, you know, I said 16 hours of watching. Dude, when I was in high school, right, I would get like 2, 3, maybe 5 if I was lucky hours of sleep. I'd be staying up all night talking to girlfriends and stuff, staying up all night watching Doctor Who, you know what I mean, all kinds of, you know, crazy stuff, right? I guess that was more like middle school, right? Yeah, that was middle school. When I got into high school, that's where I really, yeah, I still played a little bit of video games and stuff, but I was doing more things in life, right? But essentially, what this video and this topic is about is we have no idea how much time and energy that we spend, because studies have shown that when we divert our focus from what it is that we're attempting to focus on, all of a sudden we have to focus on something else because we're distracted. It takes at least 15 minutes, if not longer, to get back into that consciousness that we were when we were focused on the task. Right? And I believe that this is very important. I believe that everybody should take literally just 2 weeks out of the year, and then like 1 day a week, or maybe 1 day every 2 weeks, you know, because I know lots of people's lives, literally their way of life depends on using these technologies. You know, if you work in sales, you have to constantly be making phone calls. If you know, have a business, you need to promote your business on social media and the internet. And, you know, we need to use our phones to call people, because, you know, we don't send smoke signals into the sky anymore to invite our homies to the powwow, you know what I mean? And I'm making this video because I believe that it's vitally important for everybody to spend time with their self. You know, we spend almost our entire life focusing on other people, tending to everyone, pleasing everybody, feeling compelled that we have to respond to what they say, whether it's a text message, whether they call us. We have to keep the conversation going, or we have to listen to them keeping the conversation going. Then all of a sudden, when we get done with that, then we get stuck into a 3-hour scroll session of Instagram. Then after that, we're like, oh, now it's time to eat. So now I'm gonna eat, and now I have to watch, you know, YouTube or watch my favorite show or whatever while I eat. I found that even things like listening to music, you know, which are great, it still takes us away from what is running in our mind in the background, right? Listening to music, it is great, but it almost gives us like a false sense of energy, I found. Because if we're not getting some kind of external stimulus, then all of a sudden, now we're hearing what we're actually thinking about the whole time, and we didn't even know that we were thinking in the background the whole time because it was covered up by this music, or we didn't have the ability to think or to file things away in the background because we're constantly in a state of sensory overload. And if we're taking in new information, it's hard to file away what we have already. You know, like say you have a house and you have a certain amount of space in this house. You already have a bunch of stuff in it, but there's people just like dropping packages in your house. It's like random people, like constantly, like it's a conveyor belt of people dropping packages in your house. You're gonna be like, oh my God, like they keep putting stuff in. Like I gotta take this new stuff and put it outside or blah, blah, blah. And now you're not able to focus on putting away all these things and classifying things into, you know, different filing cabinets and putting them where they should be with like things, etc. Same kind of thing with us constantly watching and listening and being stimulated. It really adds up over time, and we don't, and it actually can cause sickness. In fact, that's why I am doing this right now, because, you know, I was talking with people like on the phone, like new people, you know, some old people, and I got to the points where I was like talking with, I'm somebody who doesn't normally talk with a bunch of people, right? But I started reaching out to a lot of different people, talking with a lot of different people about all these new things that I'm working on. And, you know, then I also had to, you know, maintain other relationships, like with my family and stuff. I never kind of been the person to really talk with my family a lot, you know, and I started doing that. And then also I'm working, doing a lot of work nowadays, right? And I found, all right, every time I eat, I'm watching YouTube videos on like some of these subjects that I'm interested in learning about, right? And I realized it's not until I go to sleep that I actually get the silence. And I also realized that sleep is only 1/3 of the day, whereas the sun is only with us for about 12, giving us half and half. There's 24 hours in a day, right? So out of respect for us to be harmonious with nature, it's almost right to have a form of silence for 4 more hours of this day to give us 12 hours of silence. When I say silence, it could be like something like this, you know, coming out into the field. I mean, minus speaking to something, right? Recording a video. Coming out into the field for half an hour and just, you know, meditating, and spending another 20 minutes just rolling around on the ground, you know, gives you another form of silence. Decompression of the vertical plane, right? When I say vertical, I mean standing. We're generally constantly stuck in one plane of existence throughout our entire day, except for when we sleep. Most people, whether it's sitting in a chair or standing, that's vertical. You know, most of the time people aren't like crawling, you know, or all fours like this. This is a, you know, lateral, right? Lateral plane. And because gravity is on me in a different way, you could think of it as a silence to the constant strain of the vertical plane, right? And of course all the other benefits, developing, you know, musculature and, you know, tendons and ligaments and all that in a different way, right? Silence, exercising, you know, just it could be one day out of the week where you don't watch TV while you eat. You know, it could be one day out of the week to where you don't use social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It could be one day out of the week. Now, thank you for tuning into this video. I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. about what you think about this topic / subject, about what you personally do to combat the overstimulus of this day and age of this society. Different techniques, different ways of being, right? Now there's a lot that goes into this, right? Meaning this subject, this topic, right? I believe that I believe personally that the silence is very important. For instance, like out of the year, I generally choose to fast for at least 2 weeks, generally broken into 2 1-week periods, and then a couple random, a couple days, 3-dayers, 2-dayers, whatever. Personally, I think that at least like 36 days for me, that's what I generally shoot for. I don't do it consciously. I just know that I should do at least 1 week-long fast a year, if not 2. Now this is just me personally. If do your research and everything, you have a lot of direct experience to attain for this, right? Getting to know your body, how long you can go without food, how long you can go without water, what is right, what is not right, meaning feelings, right? There's a lot that goes into it. But this is one of the greatest forms of silence, right? Because we're constantly, like, over 30% of the body's total energy is used when you are digesting food. So if you're constantly digesting food, you're constantly using 30% of your energy to attain energy, right? And then that's a big form of that's a big aspect about what people learn through the yogic system, is essentially energy and how much are we getting for what we use, right? And then learning how to use less energy to get more energy. And these same principles apply in these other forms of silence of the mind, right? We can't silence the mind unless we hear the mind, and we cannot hear the mind unless we silence. Right? So we must first come to hear the mind, and then we must work to let the mind spill, right? When I say spill, I mean the excess that we have in our mind, right? We need to see what it is that we are spilling, right? Because we really don't know how much it is that we actually are constantly thinking and talking inside of our mind until we begin to silence what is outside of our mind so we can hear what is going on in our mind, right? And I believe that this is something very valuable. That's why I chose to make a video on it today. I'm sure I'll make many more videos in the future on this topic. And I highly recommend to simply right after this, look up videos right now if you're on YouTube, how social media damages your brain, and watch these videos, watch a couple back to back, and then put down your phone. And then next time you do pick up your phone, and next time you find yourself going to use social media, look up another video on how bad social media is for your brain, how it damages your brain. Every time you watch something on remember this, and go back and watch a video on how social media damages your brain. Vitally important. It's really going to help propel you in the right direction, right? Thank you for tuning into this video. If you made it to this point in this video, Write down in the comment section down below 2050. And I will know that you're going to become wildly rich, right? Wildly wealthy if you play the game from now till 2050. There are a lot of things that you should be doing with your wealth, right? With your money, whatever it is. You could have 50 cents, you could just have $500,000, right? It's up to you to play the game right now so you can become ridiculously wealthy by 2050. Thank you for tuning into this video. This is a beautiful day to lay in a prairie, right? I hope that you have a magnificent rest of existence, that you stay safe, and most importantly, enjoy.